Hey y'all, Darlene here. Summer is here, and you know what that means? It's time to get those gardens growing. But let's be honest, there's one thing that can put a damper on our gardening dreams. Those pesky summer weeds. We're going to tackle those weeds head on and make sure your garden is the envy of the neighborhood. Whether you've been gardening for years or you're just starting out, these tips will make sure your garden stays lush, healthy, and weed-free throughout the summer. And here's the best part. Keeping your garden weed-free doesn't mean you have to spend hours each day pulling them out by hand. There are simple, effective methods that can save you time, energy, and frustration. Some weeds are easy to pull up, while others can be stubborn and hard to get rid of. But no matter the type, if you let them go unchecked, they'll compete with your vegetable plants for precious space and nutrients. Weeds don't just make it harder to grow your food, they can also damage your garden's overall health. But don't worry. In this video, we're not just going to tell you to pull the weeds and leave it at that. So let's get started with tip number 1, and let's make sure your garden stays beautiful and productive all summer long. Alright y'all, let's talk about mulch. Mulching is like tucking your garden beds in with a cozy blanket. Think of it this way. Mulch acts like a natural weed barrier, blocking out the sunlight that those pesky weed seeds need to sprout. And the beauty of mulch is that it does so much more than just keep weeds away. It also helps to retain moisture in the soil, so you don't have to water as often. Now, when it comes to mulch, you've got options. You can use organic mulch like shredded bark, wood chips, straw, or even compost. When you're applying mulch, you want to aim for a nice, even layer about 2 to 3 inches thick. As organic mulch breaks down, you'll need to top it off every season to maintain that ideal thickness. Now I know what you're thinking, hand weeding, isn't that a little old-fashioned? Well, sometimes the old-fashioned ways are the best ways. But hold on, before you grab those weeds with your bare hands, let's talk about technique. You want to make sure you're pulling those weeds out by the roots so they don't just grow right back. A good pair of gardening gloves will protect your hands, and a handy-dandy weeding tool can help you get a good grip on those stubborn roots. The best time to weed is when the soil is moist. Start by loosening the soil around the base of the weed with your weeding tool. Then, gently but firmly, grasp the weed at the base, as close to the soil line as possible, and pull straight up. The key here is to be patient and persistent. Alright y'all, are you ready for a secret weapon in the fight against weeds? Let me introduce you to Weed Barrier Fabric, the ultimate time saver for any gardener. It's a strong, durable fabric that you lay down over your soil to prevent weeds from growing up through it. The beauty of Weed Barrier Fabric is that it lets water and air through to your plant's roots, while still blocking out that pesky sunlight that weeds love. Now, when it comes to installing Weed Barrier Fabric, you want to make sure you do it right. First, clear the area of any existing weeds and debris. Then roll out the fabric over your garden bed, making sure to overlap the edges by at least 6 inches to prevent any sneaky weeds from finding their way through. Once you've got the fabric in place, secure it to the ground using landscape staples or garden pins. Alright, so now that you've got these 3 powerful tips in your gardening toolkit, you're ready to take on those summer weeds like a pro. Remember, a little effort goes a long way in keeping your garden healthy and productive. And the best part is, you don't have to choose just one of these methods. You can use a combination of mulching, hand weeding, and weed barrier fabric to create a customized weed control plan that works best for your garden. So get out there, get your hands dirty, and enjoy the process. Gardening is all about connecting with nature, nurturing life, and creating something beautiful and bountiful. And remember, even if those pesky weeds do pop up from time to time, don't get discouraged. Just take a deep breath, put on your gardening gloves, and tackle them head on. Happy gardening, and may your harvest be bountiful.